Introduction. Indonesia is the world's largest archipelago, comprising more than 17,000 islands. However, this country still faces various risks across different dimensions, which will be described in this video. Political risks. There are 4 risks in political risk, which includes government instability, political violence, civil unrest, and corruption. The weightage and the score for each risk is shown in the table above. Government instability. The Government Effectiveness Index for Indonesia remained consistent at 65% in 2021 and 2022. In 2023, it is estimated that the score will decrease to 60% due to cases such as resignation of Minister of Finance. Since the graph is regarding government stability, then the percentage of government instability would be 35%. Next, political violence. Political violence is measured by the Conflict Severity Index by ACLED. The score for Indonesia's political violence is only 25% in 2022. In 2023, it is estimated that the political violence score will increase to 30% due to confrontation and a coordinated sequence of bombs in Jakarta. We're moving forward to civil unrest. Indonesia was in a medium level of civil unrest with a score of 50% during the year of 2021 and 2022. In 2023, it is estimated the score for civil unrest to increase to 52% due to increasing cases such as protests by students and civil society. Lastly, corruption. Indonesia's Corruption Perception Index score in 2022 was 34%. In 2023, it is estimated that the score of corruption will have slight increase to 35% due to a corruption investigation involving a telecoms project. To conclude, the overall score of political risk is 41.1%. The risk with the highest score is government instability, and the least was corruption.
There are 4 main economic risks in Indonesia, such as unemployment, inflation, GDP, and trade balance. The weight and score for each risk is shown in the table above. The overall score for economic risk in Indonesia is 10.8%. Firstly, unemployment. Indonesia unemployment rate dropped to 5.45% in the first quarter of 2023. The main causes of unemployment in Indonesia are due to the imbalance between employment and the amount of labour, technology advance and layoff. The workforce has been expanding consistently, leading to a growing challenge for both undergraduate and master's degree holders to secure employment due to the limited job opportunities. Second is inflation. The Central Bank Chief of Indonesia said that inflation will remain above 5% in the first half of 2023. The inflation rate in Indonesia has been relatively low in recent years, with some fluctuation, and this will lead to the drop in the annual inflation rate. Bank Indonesia report that for April 2023 was 4.33%. Inflation has direct implication for the dynamic of the economy, both in the short and long term. In the short term, factors such as money supply, Bank Indonesia rate, GDP, import and export. For long run, the research revealed that the money supply, Bank Indonesia rate, exchange rate and export have a significant effect on inflation in Indonesia. Next is trade balance. In 2023, the trade balance score is expected to decrease of 34. This is because of the global economic environment, which can affect the demand for Indonesia export and import. For example, a slowdown in the global economy lead to a decrease in demand for Indonesia export, which can lead to a decrease in the trade balance. Lastly, GDP. In 2022, Indonesia GDP increased by around 5.31% compared to the previous year. The GDP of Indonesia is expected to take a step down by 5.10% in 2023 before recovering. This is because of few factors such as increasing in domestic and foreign tourist arrival, growth in the processing industry and strengthening of the domestic economy score through consumption and investment contributed to Indonesia's GDP.
As the diagram shown, the overall score for financial risk in Indonesia is 69.75%. The weightage for the level of government debt is the highest at 0.35 among the factors, because the government debt to GDP ratio is relatively high, which may make the country vulnerable to economic shocks. Followed by the foreign exchange reserves with a weightage of 0.3. The country's reserves have been increasing over the years, but these reserves may not be sufficient to withstand an unexpected liquidity issue. Level of government debt has a high score of 80% due to the high foreign debt caused by Indonesia carrying out national development. Indonesia has experienced persistent budget deficits, which can increase the government's borrowing needs and reliance on debt. High levels of public debt can potentially strain the country's fiscal position and lead to increased interest payments, crowding out other essential expenditures. Indonesia's residence banking system indicates a positive outlook with a score of 70%, owing to its high capital adequacy ratio and low level of non-performing loans. Based on recent data released by the Indonesian Investments Coordinating Board, Indonesia received $43 billion in foreign investments in 2022. Hence, we may observe that firms and corporations in Indonesia are able to gain access to capital through external financing from local and international investors, which contributes to a score of 85%. Indonesia's foreign currency reserves decreased by $1 billion to $144.2 billion in April. Indonesia's foreign currency reserves may not be adequate because they are significantly influenced by markets and foreign exchange factors. Therefore, the amount of insufficient foreign currency reserves is given a score of 55%.
A very good day to madam. My name is Lin Xuanding. Now I will present the social risk in Indonesia. The table below shows the weight and the scope of the social risk. First is the income equality risk is measured by Gini index. The higher the score, the bigger the income gap. In 2022, it increased to 37.7%. This can lead to social tension and dissatisfaction among people. Second, gender inequality in Indonesia is measured by the Global Gender Gap Index. The Global Gender Gap Index in Indonesia shows 0.7. It means that the Indonesia have not yet achieved fully gender equality. Additionally, in 2023, the Indonesia progress toward promoting women's rights are still unsuccessful. Therefore, the score given is 30% because of the gender inequality remain unresolved in Indonesia. The poverty is a serious threat to society, such as health issue, crime risk. In 2022, the 9.5% of the population live below the national poverty line. Therefore, the score given by 9.5% because of the risk poverty. But brain drain and labor shortage is measured by the net migration. The net migration of Indonesia was negative 49,997, which was the fourth lowest in the world in 2022. It shows more individuals left for Indonesia than entered in. It means that higher skilled and educated people leave Indonesia, thus leading to a labor shortage. It may happen limited resources to meet the social needs. Therefore, the score given is 70% because of fourth to last lower in the net migration. In conclusion, the biggest social risk is brain drain and labor shortage because it has a highest rate. Thank you.
Table above shows the sustainability score for Indonesia based on the most recent data. From the table above, we know that the overall score for environmental risk is 37.615%. According to the calculation, we found that the biggest environmental risk in Indonesia is overexploitation with the weightage of 0.4, followed by the pollution 0.3, natural disasters 0.2, and the lowest environmental risk is environmental regulations 0.1. In Indonesia, overexploitation is the main problem which impacts the most to Indonesian environment. According to the recent record from 2000 to 2012, Indonesia lost over 6 million hectares of forest. Over-deforestation will cause a lot of problems such as climate changes, loss of wildlife habitats, soil erosion, and flooding. Besides to over-deforestation, overfishing is also a significant risk to environment in Indonesia. Overfishing will destroy the aquatic environment of a country, hence causing a lot of problems such as increases in natural disasters, destroying marine biodiversity. Another environmental risk in Indonesia is pollution. Air pollution in Indonesia is the second most polluted country out of 240 countries on Earth based on the Air Quality Life Index. In Indonesia, the reasons that cause air pollution are vehicles, mining industries, and the main reason is biomass burning. Another pollution that severely damages Indonesia's environment is water pollution. Overfishing does not just cause the depletion of marine resources. Some of the marine life contributes to cleaning out the water resources by cleaning out the unwanted products in the water. When overfishing, it breaks the ecological balance, hence impacting the environment. Indonesia is one of the countries which has highest rate of natural disasters. Based on the Statista's environmental report for Indonesian natural disasters, Indonesia has about 3,000 natural disaster occurs which includes flooding, earthquake, and epidemic in 2020 and caused about 20,000 of residential building heavily damaged. In 2021, 70.76 million people affected by the natural disaster in the world, and among these 70.76 million people, 1.58 million are from Indonesia. Lastly, another risk that impact Indonesia environment is poor government policies. Indonesian government do not have good management in regulations or policies that protect its environment. In Indonesia, there are a lot of illegal deforestation and wildlife trafficking. Based on the report of United Nations, illegal wildlife trafficking and illegal lumbering in Indonesia often receive a larger or small fine. From the data and the justification above, we found out that the biggest risk in Indonesia is the political risk with a weightage of 0.35 and a total score of 14.385%, followed by the economic risk with a weightage of 0.25 and a total score of 2.7%. The third is environmental risk with a weightage of 0.2 and a total score of 7.523%. The fourth is social risk with a weightage of 0.15 and a total score of 7.4565%. And the lowest risk in Indonesia is financial risk with a weightage of 0.05 and a total score of 3.4875%. The overall country risk score for Indonesia is 35.552%. Political risk has the highest weightage among all risks due to political instability and corruption are persistent issues in Indonesia. The financial sector in Indonesia has been impacted by high level of government debt and inadequate amount of foreign exchange reserves. Despite this, Indonesia's financial risk score remains relatively stable due to its strong economic fundamentals and the government's commitment to financial reform.